In this video, I want to show you how to maintain the Superkop Espresso machine. I'll show you how to disassemble the entire machine, maintain the seals, eliminate scratching noises, replace the gas spring, and improve the overall performance. For this, I have divided the video into different sections. You can then easily navigate directly to the required topics. The ends of the water reservoir retaining ring can be squeezed together and then carefully removed. You can then simply clean the parts with a little soapy water. Use a blunt but thin tool to remove the outer seal. To ensure the seals remain flexible and everything functions smoothly, it's advised to treat all seals with silicone grease. This should of course be approved for contact with food. After application, you can simply wipe off any excess grease. It doesn't need to be a thick layer. After lubing the gasket, you can then simply put it back into place. Start with one end of the water reservoir retaining ring and then insert the rest into the circular groove. Make sure everything sits properly. If you also want to clean and maintain the piston seals, you don't have to disassemble the Superkop. I'll just demonstrate it here on the disassembled part. Remove the 3 screws with a 2.5mm Allen key. Then you can assess the piston seal, the small inner O-ring and the pressure valve. For any further maintenance work, we need to disassemble the machine. To do this, we use a Torx 30 tool to loosen the 2 screws at the top and bottom. To avoid scratches on the Superkop or the table, it is advised to use a soft surface. Now let's remove the gas spring. To do so, I again use the 2.5mm Allen key to get rid of the cover. Then you can push out the lever of the spring and make sure not to lose the locking pin. To completely remove the gas spring, you need to unscrew one last screw with a 3mm Allen key. Since this screw is quite under tension, you might need a lever like pliers to apply enough force to open it. Then you can clean the spring or replace it with a new one. I used some pointing pliers to get out the 2 springs. But be very careful not to stretch the spring too much. This can deform it and render it unusable. To remove the main axle, you need a flat blade screwdriver as wide as possible. I had a suitable one on my pocket knife. Now you just need to remove one last screw near to the piston and then you can take out the complete inner mechanics at once. If you want to remove scratching noises, you can remove the screw near the upper axle and slightly loose the lower screw to access the main mechanism of the lever. Now you can take out the lever and check for any problems here. In my case, I already replaced the stopping pin with a brass one. The original pin had sharp edges, which were responsible for the scratching noises on my machine. Furthermore, the pin should be positioned centrally and not protrude further on one side. To correct that, use a pin punch with a smaller diameter than the pin size and make sure the pin has a good chamfer on both sides. If not, use some sandpaper to correct that. You can then clean all contact points and lubricate them with a small amount of oil. The latter one is optional, however, as the bearings are self-lubricant. The orientation in which you insert the lever arm determines in which direction you can later tilt it, so make sure the arm can be tilted forward. You can use the single screw at the front on the piston as a guide to do so. If everything works smoothly now, you can reassemble the upper arm. If the small retainers for the portafilter tend to fall out, you can simply push them back in with a little pressure. A little glue might help to hold them in place too. However, these parts are of little interest to me and I mostly ignore them. Before reassembling, use the opportunity and clean the ratchet mechanism. A little grease does not harm here too. Then simply reinsert the mechanism and lock it into place with the bottom screw. Align all parts at the top as good as possible and carefully reinsert the axis. This should not require any force at all. Then tighten the screw and check if everything works well. When installing the lower spring, make sure the open side is facing up, otherwise it might interfere with the main mechanism. Clip them into place on the back and use one finger to align them as close as possible to the front axis. Then use some pliers and again, with no over-tensioning them, put them into place properly. You can then reinstall the gas spring. Make sure the screw is properly tightened. and reinstall the Superkop to its stand. I like to first screw in the top screw and only tighten it finally after completely setting the bottom screw. Now you can check whether the Superkop is working like it did on day 1 and enjoy it for a long time to come. A quick tip at the end: often you don't even need to replace the gas spring. Grease the seals is usually enough to get the machine running smoothly again. I hope my video was helpful for you. If you have any questions or other tips, feel free to share them in the comment section. Have fun!